remember the 5th of November. It's a saying that we all know very well, but what does it conjure up in your mind? Probably bonfires, fireworks, toffee apples, chili con carne and jacket potatoes around the fire. Well, I'd like to add one more thing to that list if I can, and that is planting up your winter containers. So this time of the year, I always start planting up my winter containers, my pots, my window boxes, because summer is well and truly over as regards your pots and containers. The petunias I got rid of probably a couple of months ago. And to be honest, it's all looking a little bit sad. So this weekend, I will be planting up my pots, my containers and my window boxes. Now, normally I'd go to the garden centre, fill up a trolley, get to the checkout, probably think about the prices once I've paid the money. But this year, like me, you're probably looking after the pennies a little bit more. So I'm going to share with you some money saving tips that can help you now and also in the future when you're doing your gardening. So let's start by talking about what you might already have on hand. So I'm going to start by thinking about the containers that we're taking out. So for example, in my summer containers, I had, for example, I think you can see that, this here, which is this gorgeous silver leaf foliage that will last through the winter, the Cineraria. So that's going to last me through the winter, so I can put that into my winter pots. I also had some ivy. So here we go, there's some ivies. They can go back in the pots. Oh, that's definitely what I'm going to be able to use. So they're things that can come straight from my pot, from one pot to my winter ones. Now, what about other stuff that I might already have bought? So last year, I bought these cyclamen. They did my winter pots. I've kept them over the summer, just in the shade, and they are just starting to flower again. So if you are going to the garden centre, think about things that will last you from season to season. So the cyclamen, they're great, and also add a little bit of colour. I've also got some grasses here. Here you go. That's something that you can buy that's going to last you season to season. Another thing that I kept from my winter pots last year are these bugles. I'll quickly show you. Here we go. So if you plant them into the ground, they spread, but if you keep them in containers, then they send out these lovely runners and they act as a little bit of a spiller over the front of your pot. So that's a really nice one, and gorgeous colours as well. So again, the ivies, that's another one that you can buy and will last you from season to season. I think that's all the ones. But when you go to the garden centre, think about sort of those mini shrubs. You can often get kind of a 6-pack of mini shrubs, sort of hebes, lavender, that gorgeous silver foliage. So think about those sorts of ones that are going to take you from this year to next year, and then keep going as long as you kind of keep them well watered, keep them fed, keep them all kind of small, just keep them pruned. They will last you from year to year. So that's one way that you can save money. Use what you've got in your pots already that will be evergreen throughout the winter, and also buy stuff that's going to last you from year to year. So that's the thing on the plants, the living stuff. Now, I just wanted to draw your attention, something that you might not have thought about using before in your containers, and that is seed heads. So I'm just going to bring you around slightly. So we have some beautiful seed heads here. They're really, really ready for harvesting at the moment. So I'm going to talk you through what I've got here. So I've got some alliums. So here we go, these gorgeous pom-poms. So this one is actually a leek. So I grew this on my allotment. It's gone to seed. The bees absolutely loved it, but now it's just dried. So I'm going to be using that in my pots. So this is a leek, but as you know, that leeks are part of allium families, which you can also buy ornamental alliums. So use your allium seed heads. I've also got here some agapanthus seed heads. Try and take this out without knocking everything over. Here we go. So they do actually look like fireworks. How terrific are they? So once they dry out, they go this gorgeous straw colour. And I'm going to talk to you about colours in a minute. I've also got this here. I'm very lucky to work with a large sort of country house and garden estate. And when they took everything down, and composted it, I got to take some of the seed heads home. So I've got these here, which are from the yucca. It's absolutely massive, gorgeous pointy leaves. And then this is what the flowers turn into. They go into these gorgeous seed heads. They're almost, they probably look black here, but they've kind of got a purple tinge, and they're going to go really well with my purple leafed bugles. So I'm excited about that. And the other one that I've got as well, another one of the alliums, is this here. So again, that firework pom-pom idea. And these are from the allium Schubertii. Absolutely amazing. So if you put those into your pots along with your foliage, you're going to end up with some really stunning results that don't cost you much money at all. So just back to still talking about seed heads and colours. So I've talked about the natural black colour from, or purple colour from, the yucca seed head. I've spoken about the straw colour from the agapanthus. Well, if you want to add a little bit of colour to your containers, then you can always spray paint these. So you might want to go with, you know, like a dark colour, go with the natural colours. That's going to be good because it's going to seal them as well. But what about using gold or silver or neon pink? You know, you do you. If that's your thing, if that's what you want to create, then go for that. These are merely suggestions. So please do whatever you want to do with your colours. They're going to look incredible. And please also do send us photos. We always love to see your photos here on the Virtual Village Hall. So please do get in touch and add them in the comments when you've done all your pots and containers. Lastly, on the seed heads, I just want to talk about this one here. So this one, if you don't have any seed heads in your garden, then this one here you can actually buy. I got this last year from a supermarket. I think it's £3 for the bunch. I got quite a lot in that. And I did actually use these in my window boxes last year. I brought them in the springtime, and I've just kept them, not in water, just in a dry jar. They've been quite nice, just sitting in the corner as a nice display. And now they're ready to use again. So £3 last year, that's going to take me through this season. They might even last into next season, and they still look pretty good. So what's that? That's £1 a year. That's not bad, is it? Not bad value at all. Okay, so I think I've spoken a little bit about, you know, what you've got now, what you can buy now to last you, seed heads that you might have, or ones that you can buy. I think it's time to pot up our container. So bear with me a second while I just put all this on the ground or to one side, and I'll bring my container up. So when you are looking around your garden or in the supermarket, also just have a think about the different colours of the foliage. You know, we've got stuff from this silver colours, like in the lavenders. This cyclamen that I'm going to be using today has got silver in it, as well as the darker greens. Sometimes it's a very dark green leaf. This is a bit more zingy. This is a chrysanthemum, which is just about to come into flower actually. So I will use this as well in another pot. And these tend to, this one, I don't know the variety unfortunately, because again, I've had this for a couple of years now. This one stays evergreen throughout the winter. So look for those evergreen shrubs. Also with the ivy, this is kind of a mid-green, but you can get really deep forest greens, right through to variegated, you know, with white, with very pale leaves. So think about how all those leaves match up together. Grasses, they go, you've got some very dark grasses, like almost black, purple, which can just complement each other so well. So think about all your colours. You know, leaves aren't boring. Leaves can be really exciting and really, really make an impact. Another thing we can use for colour as well are heathers, which are around at the moment. Now this one I did actually buy, but this one is going to last me for a good couple of years. As long as I keep it well, it will last me. So again, I think this cost me about £3. So over a few seasons, that's again really, really good value. And actually looking at my table, this is the only thing that I've bought this year. Everything else I've previously bought, or I've found in the garden or someone else's garden. But make sure you ask. Okay. So here's my container. I'm just going for a classic terracotta container. It's got a good depth to it. I filled it with just a few crocks at the bottom to help with drainage, and just filled it not right up to the top, filled it just below the surf, just below the rim with multi-purpose compost. Right, let's get stuck in. So normally before I plant, I always just have a little test to see what everything's going to look like, how it's going to work together. And I think also I'm going to take a little bit of this soil out. I think I've put a bit too much in. I can always add as I need to. So if you've planted containers up with me before, then you might know that I like to work on the gardener Sarah Raven's concept of spiller, thriller and filler. So your thriller is your main plant, your main coloured plant. Possibly that's the one that I tend to spend a little bit more on. Your spiller is your plant that spills over the side. That just balances out your arrangement. And also your filler. So that's the plant that fills in all the gaps. If you think about when you get a bouquet, it's not just simply flowers, it's foliage to set as a lovely background, lovely backdrop to your plants. And just let me put this camera up slightly. You might be able to see a little bit better. Okay, so I've got my heather. I've also want to go in with one of the cyclamen that I've got. And this is a pink cyclamen, so it's going to pick up the pinks from the heather itself. That's quite a fairly sort of mid-pink one. I've also got my bugle. That can fit in there and that can spill over the side, and it's quite a nice complementing colour with the cyclamen. And then just to balance out this spilling off the side and the colours, I'm going to add that yucca seed head, which brings in that sort of purple colour. Take some of those off. That brings in the purple, but also adds a height and balances the spill here over the side, and then gives you the height at the back. So I'm happy with that arrangement. So all I need to do now is just make sure they're all out of their pots, which they are. Put that to one side. And then I just need to, I'm just going to use my hands to make a hole in the compost. Just going to free up some of those roots. Nestle that in. Got my bugle. Again, hole in the compost. Pop that in. Lastly, the planting wise is the cyclamen. Nestle that in too. And with the cyclamen, just a little tip. So you want to leave this part here, the I'm not sure if it's called a rhizome actually. Maybe someone can help me out there. This bit here where the leaves actually come from, you want to keep that above the soil. You don't want this to be under the soil because it will rot away and then you'll lose your plant. So make sure that's up above the soil. Then I've just got a few loose, a few sort of spaces that I'm just going to fill in with the loose soil that I took. Firm that down. Again, you don't want it right up to the rim because when you water it, you don't want the water to spill out the sides. You want it to remain in the pot. Now, I would normally water this if I'm taking the if my compost is dry. However, all this stuff has been outside and the amount of rain that we've had over the last couple of days, there's no way I need to water any of these plants. But if your compost is dry, then just give it a quick water. And I'm going to finish it off with my seed head. Make sure that's nicely in there. And there we are, our finished winter container, which has cost me very little money, and I'll be able to use these plants again over the next few years. There we go. So thank you ever so much for joining me this morning. It's been such a pleasure to share all those hints and tips. If you did enjoy it, then please do like, do comment. You can share this video as well. If you're only just joining us, then no worries, this video will be on the Virtual Village Hall Facebook page indefinitely, I'm going to say, so you can watch it again and again. Maybe save it if you haven't got time this weekend. If you've got lots of bonfire parties to go to, then save it and you can use it at another date. So that's me done. Thank you ever so much, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.